The difference between the front squat and the back squat is simply the position of the bar. It shifts from being on the back of the shoulders to up on the front of the collarbones and upper chest like so. Therefore, it's important that you remember the main fundamentals of your squat. We're driving the toes hard into the ground to create stability in the feet. We're pulling those knees apart as we descend into the squat, and we're maintaining a nice proud chest. By having the bar in a different position, it will change your position slightly in the upper body, but that's something that should happen naturally. Now with the front squat, you're going to demand a good and high amount of wrist mobility and also a good bit of shoulder stability and mobility. So therefore, if you find this movement very uncomfortable, keep practicing it, but also use the mobility overhaul classes to assist you in getting better at this. My main point is, it's probably going to be pretty uncomfortable when you're first starting it, but persevere and it will get better. For demonstration purposes only, I am facing out of the rack. Normally, for safety reasons, I would be facing in the way, but so you can see what I'm doing and how I set up, I'm going to face out the way. So when I set up, it's important that you get the bar height correct, okay? You don't want to have to squat down, and you certainly don't want to have to be getting up on your tiptoes to get set up. We're going to place the hands roughly shoulder width apart, and this is going to be predominantly on the fingertips. The purpose of the hands here is to support the bar, not to hold it. However, you may find in the early days, this is a struggle. So what we're trying to do is walk into the bar and position it on the top of the collarbones and lift these elbows up and as high as you possibly can. When you do this, you're going to create a nice little groove for the bar to rest in between the shoulders and your collarbones. You can see from the side that I've got my elbows as high as I possibly can, but I am not letting my back overextend. So as any other exercise, we keep the butt squeezed and we keep the core nice and tight and we keep that proud chest. But the emphasis is on keeping these elbows as high as you can. And again, from the side here, you can see that groove that I'm talking about. That bar is supported in that groove, but my arms are just here to help support the bar and minimize it from rolling out. For the execution, it's simple. The setup's already been described. We're getting the hands just outside shoulder width apart, sit the bar onto your collarbones and get those elbows up nice and high. And then you should feel that nice groove where the bar settles into. Take a few steps away from the rack, make sure your safety bars are set up at the correct height. From here, usual squat mechanics apply. Drive the toes hard into the ground, squeeze the butt hard, keep the core tense, and now we're going to be lifting these elbows nice and high. The rest should come pretty natural, so what I would urge you to focus on is keeping these elbows high, because that's going to stop you falling forwards. Big breath in, squatting down, pull the knees apart, keeping the elbows up high, which is going to stop us falling forwards, and then drive, squeeze the butt. You'll notice with this movement, because the bar position and the high elbows that we're trying to promote, it's going to keep you more vertical. It's going to keep your upper body in a more vertical position and have you sitting back into the squat compared to the back squat. It's as simple as that, and from the side, always trying to keep those elbows high. Now here's a couple of tips. The reason it's important to keep your elbows high and why we need good shoulder and wrist mobility is if you let the elbows drop during the movement, you're going to find yourself falling forward and putting your arms more in the position of a shoulder press. And then as a result, you're going to feel a lot of strain on your upper back and you're going to find the movement a lot harder. We're going to shift the emphasis off the legs and turn it more into an upper body movement. So keep those elbows high. Don't let them collapse forward, and certainly don't let it feel like you're falling forwards. That takes time and it takes practice to make sure we're getting these elbows up high and getting that nice, optimal upper body positioning. When you're starting out with this movement and you lack the wrist mobility, you will feel a lot of strain on the wrist. A good way to alleviate this pain is just to simply take your pinkies from underneath the bar, and that'll take a lot of the tension away. You're still striving to have them underneath the bar, but it's a little hack that might get you started a little bit sooner on better form and better posture. Get it done, get it practiced, build it up slowly. It's a complex exercise, it's still a squat at heart, but you've got a lot of new things to think about.